The 7 levels of Marvel Power Class explained. Level 1, the born different, mutants. Mutants were Marvel's first great experiment with evolution, power written into DNA, not a gift, not a curse, just biology doing its job. The X gene turned ordinary humans into something new, and that single genetic twist changed comic history. In 1963, X-Men #1 introduced the idea that superheroes could be a metaphor for real-world prejudice. They didn't crash land from space or get bitten by radioactive spiders. They were born into a world that didn't want them. Cyclops was the blueprint. The moment Scott Summers opened his eyes, the world became dangerous. His optic blasts were uncontrollable, forcing him to live behind ruby quartz lenses. That tension, seeing everything yet barely being seen, defined the early X-Men. Xavier turned that fear into discipline, shaping Cyclops into the field commander every mutant relied on. He wasn't the flashiest, but he was the spine of the team. Over decades, that same discipline hardened into militarized strategy. Cyclops became the symbol of survival, the man who understood that leading a persecuted species meant living with impossible choices. Then came Jean Grey. Her powers bloomed slowly, telekinesis at first, then telepathy. But the Phoenix changed the scale forever. It was cosmic fire wearing human emotion. Jean's story is the heartbeat of Marvel's mutant myth, a woman whose empathy outgrew her control. The Phoenix saga turned evolution into tragedy, showing that limitless potential can break the person who carries it. Jean's rise and fall transformed the X-Men from a teenage adventure series into an operatic cycle of love, death, and rebirth. Magneto carried the opposite lesson. Born Max Eisenhardt, a survivor of Auschwitz. His belief in mutant supremacy was memory turned militant. Where Xavier dreamed of coexistence, Magneto understood persecution as historical fact. His magnetism was a metaphor. The man who could move metal was trying to reshape a world that had once caged him. Across decades, he shifted between enemy and ally, teacher and terrorist. Each role felt like a different version of justice. When he stood beside the X-Men, he showed what reconciliation looked like. When he led Genosha and later the Krakoan Nation, he showed what autonomy could mean. He was history refusing to repeat itself. And then there's Storm. Aurora Monroe changed what leadership in the X-Men looked like. Raised in Kenya, worshipped as a goddess, she carried weather in her veins. Her mutation turned atmosphere into emotion, calm or hurricane, peace or rage. When she took command of the X-Men, she did it without her powers, proving that leadership didn't need spectacle. Storm became a bridge between worlds. African royalty, American hero, mutant icon. She embodied grace under elemental weight. Mutants redefined power by grounding it in humanity. Every one of them was both miracle and mirror, showing us evolution's potential and society's fear of it. Their conflicts weren't about domination or conquest. They were about recognition, about proving that survival could still mean compassion. In the Marvel universe, gods might shape galaxies and machines might conquer time, but mutants remind us where it all began, inside human blood, quietly rewriting the future one gene at a time. Level 2, the changed, mutate. In Marvel's world, some people are rewritten by accident. Radiation, chemicals, or experiments gone wrong. These are the catalysts that turned ordinary lives into legends. The mutate class became Marvel's signature formula. Humans transformed by circumstance, shaped by survival, and often punished for their own miracles. Peter Parker's story set the foundation. A shy teenager bitten by a radioactive spider in Amazing Fantasy number 15, 1962. A single moment that changed superhero fiction forever. His powers came with precision, wall crawling, enhanced agility, danger sense. But more than abilities, Peter became a symbol of consequence. The death of Uncle Ben turned a random mutation into moral clarity. With great power comes great responsibility was an emotional rulebook for every mutate that followed. Spider-Man grounded the genre in human anxiety. He had rent-due, bruises under the mask, and a secret that isolated him. Decades later, his DNA and moral framework still defined Marvel's street-level storytelling. Then came Bruce Banner. The atomic age turned fear into flesh when a gamma bomb detonation flooded his body with radiation. The result was the Incredible Hulk. Rage, trauma, and survival wrapped in green muscle. Banner's mutation was a walking experiment gone feral. Every transformation carried the echo of a nuclear warning. His character explored the Cold War's obsession with power that couldn't be contained. As the Hulk grew smarter through later versions, Professor Hulk, World Breaker, Immortal. Each phase reflected a different way humanity wrestles with anger and identity. His mind remained brilliant, but his mutation made him a creature of pure emotion, intellect fused with destruction. Few transformations reshaped Marvel's tone like the Fantastic Four. A team, not a hero. Born from cosmic radiation in Fantastic Four #1, 1961, Reed Richards, Sue Storm, Johnny Storm, and Ben Grimm became the template for science-fueled storytelling. Their mutations turned exploration into consequence. Reed's elasticity symbolized adaptability, Sue's invisibility reflected unseen strength, Johnny's flame embodied youth and recklessness, and Ben Grimm, the Thing, bore the visible cost of discovery. They were family before they were heroes, and their powers made them global ambassadors for science fiction and comics. The FF shifted Marvel from capes and masks to cosmic philosophy. They didn't fight for justice as much as they experimented with destiny. Jessica Drew added a darker layer. As Spider-Woman, she wasn't bitten by chance. She was engineered. Injected with an experimental serum derived from spider blood to cure uranium poisoning, she became an assassin, a SHIELD operative, and later an Avenger. Her mutation questioned ownership. Who gets to decide what you become when science turns you into property? Mutates embody Marvel's cautionary tale of progress. Every advancement, maybe from gamma labs to cosmic rockets, creates something extraordinary and unpredictable. Their powers don't come from destiny or divine heritage, but from humanity's habit of pushing too far. These are survivors of science, living test cases for what happens when curiosity crosses safety lines. Level 3. The Makers. Tech-powered. These are the builders, the people who refuse to wait for evolution or magic to hand them power. They design it, weld it, upgrade it, and sometimes die by it. In a world where gods swing hammers and mutants are born extraordinary, the Makers prove that invention can compete with destiny. Tony Stark is their blueprint. Created in Tales of Suspense #39, 1963, Stark was a weapons designer who turned captivity into innovation. Trapped in a cave, shrapnel in his chest, he built the first Iron Man suit to keep himself alive. From that moment, technology became both armor and addiction. Each new suit reflected a stage of his life: the silver prototype of survival, the gold mark of success, the red and gold icon of celebrity. His intellect created Ultron, rewrote his own biology with Extremis, and turned his heart into a literal reactor. Stark's evolution tracks humanity's relationship with progress. Every upgrade solves one problem and invents another. Through him, Marvel captured the fear and fascination of living in a world where machines think faster than people, and responsibility can't be outsourced to code. Then there's T'Challa, the Black Panther. His power isn't only the heart-shaped herb or royal lineage, it's the mind that built Wakanda's future. Introduced in Fantastic Four #52, 1966, T'Challa turned an isolationist kingdom into the most advanced nation on Earth. Vibranium became his civilization's nervous system, powering technology, medicine, transportation, and even spirituality. Under his rule, Wakanda represents what happens when science grows within culture instead of above it. The Black Panther suit is living technology, absorbing kinetic energy, weaving tradition with innovation. He embodies the idea that genius can be collective, rooted in legacy rather than ego. His brilliance is national rather than personal. Every invention strengthens identity. James Rhodey Rhodes, better known as War Machine, adds the soldier's perspective. His armor is artillery. A military engineer before he wore a suit, Rhodey's approach to technology is pragmatic. When he took over as Iron Man during Tony's alcoholism, he proved the armor could outlive its maker. Later, as War Machine, his upgrades focused on survivability and firepower, not style. He's the test case for what happens when technology leaves its creator's hands. The suit becomes a weapon of policy, controlled by governments, field-tested by soldiers. His story widens the conversation from invention to ownership, reminding us that genius rarely stays in the lab. And then there's Otto Octavius, Dr. Octopus, the cautionary figure in every discussion about ambition. Debuting in The Amazing Spider-Man #3, 1963, he was a pioneer in atomic research before an accident fused his mechanical tentacles to his spine. The technology that amplified his mind also fractured it. Yet, even as a villain, Octavius reflects Marvel's respect for intellect. His takeover of Peter Parker's body during the Superior Spider-Man saga in 2013 proved that obsession can evolve into redemption. He became a better hero through science and failure. Among the Makers, he represents the fine line between creation and corruption, the moment when invention stops serving humanity and starts consuming it. Across these characters, technology functions as mirror and prophecy. Stark turned personal survival into global defense. T'Challa merged innovation with moral purpose. Rhodey industrialized heroism. Octavius mechanized identity itself. Each one shows a different way to weaponize intellect, through engineering, ethics, or ego. Level 4. The Learned. Mystics. These are those who treat reality like an instrument, learning the notes until they can change the song. Their strength doesn't come from mutation or machines, but from mastery, patience, and the willingness to let their minds walk where mortals fear to look. Dr. Stephen Strange stands at the center of this discipline. A gifted neurosurgeon once driven by ego, Strange lost his hands in a car accident and spent his fortune chasing cures across the world. His journey ended in Kamar Taj, under the guidance of the Ancient One. What began as desperation became transformation. Strange learned to channel power from other dimensions, wielding relics like the Cloak of Levitation and the Eye of Agamotto. His education was structured like medicine, precise, procedural, and dangerous. Every spell he memorized came from somewhere: an ancient text, a forgotten deity, a contract between planes. The moment he became Sorcerer Supreme, he stopped being a man who fixed bodies and became one who repaired realities. Doctor Strange turned intellect into spirituality, showing that knowledge itself could be a weapon of balance. Wanda Maximoff walks the same path from a different direction. The Scarlet Witch has always stood between science, magic, and emotion. Her powers began as probability manipulation, later rewritten as chaos magic, energy that bends existence around will. Her story traces the cost of understanding too much too fast. Wanda's connection to the Darkhold expanded her reach beyond spellcraft into creation itself, reshaping worlds in House of M and WandaVision. Her grief became architecture, her love turned into entire timelines. Wanda's magic behaves like memory. It keeps rewriting itself, changing meaning every time she redefines her pain. Among mystics, she embodies raw emotion made literal, a reminder that knowledge without stability can consume the person who seeks it. Agatha Harkness represents the oldest thread of Marvel's magical lineage. A witch who survived the Salem trials, she predates nearly every modern hero. Agatha taught Wanda her craft while keeping secrets of her own, guarding the ancient arts from those who would misuse them. Her magic doesn't shimmer like Strange's or erupt like Wanda's, it manipulates from the background. Through her, Marvel frames mysticism as history, an ongoing tradition of teachers and apprentices where morality shifts with the century. Agatha's longevity allows her to act as historian, manipulator, and survivor, a constant reminder that in the magical hierarchy, age equals leverage. Then there's Brother Voodoo, later known as Dr. Voodoo, who brings a different philosophy to mysticism. Jericho Drum's power is rooted in Haitian Vodou, blending ancestral spirits with the same disciplined study Strange mastered. When he became Sorcerer Supreme after Strange stepped down, it marked a rare fusion of faith and scholarship. His spells summon souls instead of cosmic entities, turning culture itself into a conduit of power. Voodoo's place among mystics shows that magic in Marvel isn't a single language. It's a network of beliefs, each one shaping how the world bends. Magic in the Marvel universe operates like an ecosystem. Energy flows through realms, dark dimension, astral plane, chaos streams, each with its own laws. To use it, one must learn its grammar. Strange learned through humility, Wanda through emotion, Agatha through endurance, and Voodoo through heritage. Every spell, relic, and incantation is a transaction, not a gift. The mystics understand that power is borrowed, never owned, and that the universe always collects what it's owed. Among all power classes, the learned are the most deliberate. They treat the supernatural like physics, measurable, teachable, and lethal in the wrong hands. Their power hums beneath the skin of reality, holding the fabric of the multiverse together by memory, will, and wisdom. Level 5. The Outsiders. They are the proof that strength, morality, and even heroism take different shapes across galaxies. Their biology is their weapon. Their worlds define what power means, and when they cross into human stories, they change the scale completely. Thor was the first god Marvel made feel human. Introduced in Journey into Mystery, number 83, 1962, he came to Earth with a hammer and a sense of duty born from Asgard. The son of Odin, forged in battles that predate humanity, Thor embodies divine biology, strength, endurance, and longevity that make him a myth in motion. Mjolnir became his partner, its enchantment binding his worth to his heart. Over time, his story evolved from prince to exile, warrior to king. Each Ragnarok wiped the slate clean, forcing him to rebuild identity as much as kingdom. What made him compelling wasn't invulnerability, but the cycle of destruction and rebirth that followed him. When the gods of Asgard fall, the cosmos trembles, yet Thor always returns, carrying thunder like it's a language the universe still respects. Carol Danvers, better known as Captain Marvel, bridges the gap between Earth and the stars. A U.S. Air Force pilot turned Kree hybrid, her powers came from an explosion that infused her with energy from the Tesseract, also known as the Space Stone. She gained photon blasts, flight, and near-limitless endurance. Where Thor's strength is ancient, Carol's is engineered through cosmic exposure. She became a symbol of perseverance, a soldier who never surrendered, even when her memories were rewritten or her allegiances tested. In comics, she's led teams, faced galactic wars, and stood against Thanos himself. Captain Marvel represents Earth's graduation into the interstellar world, a reminder that that humanity's next frontier isn't invention, it's belonging among the stars. Venom sits on the other end of that spectrum, alien power that infects rather than inspires. The symbiote was introduced in The Amazing Spider-Man number 252, 1984, as a living organism from the planet Clintar. It enhances its host's strength, reflexes, and resilience, but feeds on adrenaline and emotion. When it bonded with Eddie Brock, it created one of Marvel's most unpredictable anti-heroes. Their relationship blurred the line between partnership and parasitism. Over time, Venom evolved from villain to protector, even fathering offspring like Carnage and Sleeper. What makes Venom fascinating is his duality, a being designed for conquest that found purpose in connection. His alien nature made him terrifying, but his bond with humanity gave him identity. Gladiator, the praetor of the Shi'ar Imperial Guard, brings another kind of alien philosophy. First appearing in X-Men number 107, 1977, his powers include flight faster than light, heat vision, and near invulnerability, all fueled by confidence. His strength literally rises and falls with his belief in himself. To the Shi'ar Empire, he is loyalty personified, a protector whose duty outweighs individuality. Through Gladiator, Marvel explored the idea of power as discipline. His abilities aren't the result of emotion or mutation, but of conviction, an alien mirror of faith turned tangible. Each of these figures shows a different version of what alien power can mean. Thor's strength carries myth, Carol's carries science, Venom's carries instinct, and Gladiator's carries belief. They represent civilizations that make Earth's problems feel small, yet each ends up tied to humanity in some way. Their stories expand Marvel's map beyond continents and into constellations, proving that every planet has its own definition of greatness. Level 6, the Engineered, Inhumans and Eternals. Power can evolve on its own, or it can be designed. The Engineered represent creation by intent, species crafted to serve higher purposes. They weren't born to discover who they are. They were built to perform, to endure, and to remind the universe that life can be manufactured as easily as it can be born. The Inhumans came first. Created by the Kree millions of years ago, they were experiments in forced evolution. The Kree Empire had been searching for ways to strengthen their own DNA and decided Earth's early humans might hold the answer. They used Terrigen Mist, a mutagenic substance that rewrote genetic code. From it, an entire race was born, hidden in their city of Attilan, living apart from the human world. Among them stood Black Bolt, their silent king. His voice can trigger earthquakes, topple mountains, and wipe out civilizations. The smallest whisper can kill. Because of this, he rules in silence, communicating through gesture and gaze. That restraint defines him, a man of infinite power who spends his life avoiding sound. His leadership is tragic, an existence where command equals isolation. Beside him stands Medusa, queen and interpreter of her husband's will. Her prehensile hair, controlled down to each strand, moves with precision, capable of lifting cars or cradling a child. She balances ferocity with diplomacy, turning her mutation into artful expression. Medusa often functions as the voice Black Bolt cannot have, the translator between power and humanity. Their dynamic mirrors the Inhumans' entire struggle, a society engineered for perfection but trapped by its own hierarchy. Every Inhuman's ability comes with a cost. Terrigenesis defines one's social standing. Soldiers, thinkers, and rulers are chosen not by merit, but by mutation. Its evolution turned into a caste system. While the Inhumans were experiments, the Eternals were masterpieces. They were created by the Celestials, cosmic architects who sculpted life across galaxies. In the Eternals number 1, 1976, Jack Kirby introduced them as the pinnacle of design, immortal beings powered by cosmic energy, immune to aging and disease. They were assigned to guide humanity's development, to protect Earth from the deviants, a monstrous offshoot born from the same experiments. But millennia of duty fractured their unity. Some Eternals embraced their mission, others questioned the Celestials' authority. That conflict defined their civilization as much as their power. Icarus stands as their soldier. His strength, flight, and energy projection make him the face of eternal duty. He doesn't lead through charisma. He functions like a living weapon, trained to protect rather than question. His loyalty is legendary, but it isolates him from emotion. When the Eternals turned on each other, his sense of purpose collapsed, revealing the cost of being engineered for service. Thena represents the other side of that creation. Warrior, strategist, and scholar, she carries the memories of countless lifetimes. Her bond with Gilgamesh, another Eternal known for his compassion and strength, shows the humanity buried within perfection. Yet her condition, Maud Weary, makes her remember lives that should have been erased. It drives her into disarray, a flaw that turns design into vulnerability. Through Thena, the Eternals stop being flawless immortals and become test subjects aging in ways that only the mind understands. The Engineered embody Marvel's most philosophical form of power. They ask whether life created by higher hands can ever be free. The Inhumans were tools built for conquest who built their own monarchy instead. The Eternals were guardians who became doubters, questioning the gods who made them. Both stories revolve around identity born from manipulation, living beings discovering individuality inside blueprints. In Marvel's hierarchy of power, the Engineered occupy a strange middle ground between science and divinity. Their strength is measured not by how much they can destroy, but by how much they can disobey. Level 7. The Infinite, cosmic beings. At the edge of Marvel's universe, power stops being personal. The Infinite are forces given form, entities that exist beyond mortality, morality, or even comprehension. They don't gain power, they are power. Every decision they make echoes across galaxies, rewriting laws that lesser beings spend centuries trying to understand. Galactus stands at the top of this cosmic order. Born from the dying universe that existed before the current one, he survived the Big Crunch and was reborn during the Big Bang. His hunger is legendary, but it's not villainy, it's necessity. He consumes worlds rich in life energy to maintain the balance of existence. His coming signals the end of civilizations, and yet his destruction would destabilize the cosmos. To Marvel's storytellers, Galactus is the first embodiment of natural law, destruction that preserves equilibrium. His heralds, like the Silver Surfer, act as extensions of his will, traveling light years ahead to prepare doomed planets for his arrival. Through Galactus, power becomes a cycle, not an act, the feeding and creation of worlds tied together in an endless exchange. The Silver Surfer embodies that tension. Once Norrin Rad of Zen-La, he offered himself to Galactus to save his homeworld. The power cosmic turned him into a being capable of traveling faster than light, surviving the vacuum of space, and manipulating energy on a universal scale. But the price was exile from his people and servitude to a being who devoured life. Over time, the Surfer broke free and became Marvel's philosopher of infinity. His journeys across galaxies became meditations on purpose, loneliness, and moral consequence. The Surfer's role connects cosmic storytelling to human emotion, a reminder that awareness can be both a gift and a prison. The Living Tribunal represents something even greater, judgment on a multiversal scale. Depicted with three faces symbolizing equity, necessity, and vengeance, the Tribunal is tasked with maintaining balance between realities. When cosmic forces clash, chaos and order, eternity and infinity, the Tribunal intervenes to prevent collapse. He doesn't serve the gods or the Celestials. He enforces a code that even they obey. To see the Tribunal is to witness the multiverse measuring itself. His decisions have altered timelines, erased entire worlds, and restored broken ones. He's less a character and more an equation, sentient law that moves when balance demands it. Above all, the Infinite include beings like eternity and infinity, twin personifications of time and space. They don't rule. They exist as frameworks holding reality together. Eternity embodies all living things across the universe simultaneously. Infinity represents the endless expansion that makes existence possible. Their rare appearances, such as during the Infinity Gauntlet saga, serve as scale markers for Marvel's cosmic order. When they speak, the story has reached its highest stakes. These entities redefine power into abstraction. Galactus consumes because balance requires it. The Surfer searches because awareness demands it. The Tribunal judges because structure depends on it. And eternity exists because everything else must fit within it. The Infinite operate on laws older than morality, purpose, continuity, and the shape of existence itself. And that's it. So now to you, which level do you think tells the most important story about Marvel's universe? Comment down below, leave a like, subscribe, and turn on the notification for more amazing videos like this one.